I'm excited to introduce our next Walking Matters speaker. Her name is Mary Pat King. She is the National Director of Programs and Partnership at the National PTA.
So, why is the National PTA here? Well, we're here because walking matters to families. Families know it. And how do we know it? Because our local PTAs are at the heart of this issue. You've already heard from a couple of people who've mentioned us, and I was proudly smiling when they did. Why does walking matter to families, and not just families in urban areas? Walking matters to families in urban areas because of limited space for cars and tight budgets for traveling to work, school, grocery stores, and more. But walking matters to families in suburbs, and I'm glad you said that, Molly, because I completely agree, I'm one of them. And it's because families who are enduring, families see their community, their suburban community, as their community. And families who are enduring new poverty with limited options for transportation really depend on their feet to get them to the bus stop and other public modes of transportation, especially now that gas prices are so high. Walking matters to families in rural areas who walk with their children along the shoulder of the county route to school bus shelters, embedded on the side of the road where the cars who are following the speed limit go 55 miles per hour. And families do that every day. And you know what? Walking's always mattered to the families. This is a photo from my hometown newspaper. Proudly published it about 100 years ago. If you look close, you'll see a sign on this bridge that says, $10 fine for riding or driving on this bridge faster than a walk. Clearly, the founders of my community got it. They got the importance of walking. But contrast that to a headline I saw last week in the same newspaper that said that the superintendent of schools in this very small, very walkable, I've walked every corner of it, community, declared a plan to encourage all students to take the bus to school regardless of distance. The bus to school regardless of distance. That means my nephews who run track are going to be walking or taking the bus to school. It will take them 45 minutes to get there when it would be a 10-minute walk. Why is this happening? Well, the article stated speeding cars, broken sidewalks, and people who may pose a danger to students. These are all problems, especially in a small community, that can be solved with enforcement, engineering, and community members like PTA people who reclaim the streets from those who pose dangers. Community members who are willing to become part of the solutions like the walking school bus. In the article, one policymaker felt school buses for all students, even those that live less than a mile, addressed numerous risks. While another celebrated, and they used the word celebrated, that kids would learn school bus protocol at an earlier age. Well, hallelujah. Really? I work for the PTA. I can think of some other things we need them to learn. My hometown is among hundreds of places across the country that absolutely has the means to be walkable. Solutions that are doable and affordable and more sustainable in the long run. More sustainable because these solutions would address the roots of the traffic and personal safety problems, rather than easy fixing the problems with buses or restrictions. And the result would be even more active and vibrant communities. And that's what's firing up the PTA, at the local level and at the national level. See, the way it works in National PTA is we take our direction from the ground. In 2012, at the 116th annual convention and exposition, yes, we are that old, PTA delegates made it clear on the floor that the ability to walk to school and bike to school safely was their priority. It matters. You can use this resolution when working with your local PTAs. The delegates unanimously passed a resolution to advocate for improved infrastructures around schools. So what does this mean? It means that PTA and its more than 22,000 local units, which represents more than 4.2 million families across the country, are ready. They're ready to advocate, they're ready to volunteer, They're ready to raise money and they're ready to push for safe routes to school. Next week, so many PTAs will be participating in Walk to School Day, and we're going to keep them fired up as we work with Kaiser Permanente and the Safe Routes to School National Partnership to proudly launch Fire Up Your Feet again this fall. It started last spring when we began encouraging families and schools to power up their daily activity with walking to school, and then take it beyond and make it a part of their everyday life. Now think about it from a parent perspective. Many of you probably are parents. Taking a walk or biking with your kid not only encourages health behaviors, it supports their cognitive development. Research shows that. It gets their brain moving. It supports their social and emotional development because when parents spend time with children, research shows they do better. And here's that research. Family engagement works. We know that when families get together and they spend time together, not only in an academic setting, but in a setting like walking, children do better. And an important note here, this is true no matter what the family income or background can be. Now, when you're thinking about our families as customers, who we want to turn into advocates, we've got the no-cost option for them, walking. I am a suburban mom who is a walking advocate, and these are my two little ones. And in my family, walking matters. It always leads us on new adventures, to new discoveries, and we make precious memories, like this day, the day we all tried for the very first time a Slurpee. And we agreed it was nasty. Or how about this day? This is on Friday nights, we take family date night, and we walk often to my children and I in the time that it takes my husband to commute home, which is a lot of time in the DC area. We walk to our favorite restaurant, which is about 1.2 miles away. It's a little far, tiny bit far. I sometimes have to carry my daughter who's 3, but my son can do it easily. Well, this day, we were walking on the street. There's 6 lanes that you don't see, by the way, next to us. But the sidewalk's safe. I'm good. We're walking, and my son, with an old BlackBerry that he stole from us, captured my daughter discovering her shadow for the first time. Remarkable. On that same day, we passed by Mr. Silas Burke's house, and that's what we call him, Mr. Silas Burke. And he's one of the founding fathers of our community. And my kids, we read the sign, we talked about it. He took another picture, we talked about it during dinner. We regularly talk about Mr. Silas Burke now. They now get why our little community is named Burke. And then we saw this little trail that's a neighborhood cut through that I didn't know existed, but I was thankful because we were getting close to the end of my daughter's capacity to walk. And suddenly, we're on a wild safari. And that girl, she felt like she was in the middle of a jungle. And this is all happening on a walk. Every day that we walk, we talk. We practice the rules of the road, like a good mom, left, right, left. I don't think they get it yet. And we sing. And we laugh. And we learn to love our little community of Burke even more. A family that loves its community. Isn't that what walking is really all about? Thank you.